Good morning. I will now call to order the December 2nd Committee of the Whole meeting. Are there any declarations of interest from members of council? Seeing none, I will move to our land acknowledgement statement. The town of East Gwillimbury recognizes and acknowledges the lands originally used and occupied by the First Peoples of the Williams Treaty First Nations and other Indigenous people. And on behalf of council, I thank them for sharing this land. We also acknowledge the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation as East Gwillimbury's closest First Nation community and recognize the unique relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and the waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and we join them in these responsibilities. We are at item D today, community announcements. Are there any announcements from members of council? Councillor Lahey, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, through you, Madam Mayor. I'm excited about the upcoming Santa Claus Parade in Mount Albert. It's this Saturday, December the 6th. Roads will be closed at approximately 10:15 a.m. and the parade will start at 11 a.m. And the Mount Albert Lions will be providing hot dogs and hot chocolate after the parade at the Main Street Community Center in Mount Albert, as they do every year. And so we're excited to see Santa in Mount Albert this Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Crone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and welcome back.
Thank you.
My ward mate took part of my announcements, but the other part I wanted to let people know it's Giving Tuesday today, and so charities around Canada are asking people to help donate, and it's a great day to donate. Especially, I know the local food banks in town are stretched and they need all the help they can get. We've got, it's estimated that 25% of Canadians are using food banks, which is insane in my opinion. And of the new users of food banks, 1 out of 4 are employed people. So we have working poor that are now using food banks. So if folks can pick any charity you'd like, but please give and give till it hurts. Thank you.
Thank you for reminding us. I'm just looking to see. I'm not seeing that there are any others that would like to speak at this time. We are at item E. If there's no deputations, I'll move to item F. We have no presentations. Item G, we are at corporate services with Councillor Carruthers in the chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and welcome back.
Thank you.
We have just one report today, and that is a corporate services report on the transition of community groups. We've been looking at this for the last 2 years, and so this report will help tie up some of those loose ends, and I'll turn it over to General Manager Gandhi to take us through that.
Through you, Madam Chair. So this report speaks to specifically the community groups which, effective January 1st, 2026, will no longer be committees of council, and that was per the report that we last brought to council. There's a chart in this report that speaks to the changes that will occur, and again, per council direction, we were doing everything we can to make sure that this transition is as smooth as possible for those community groups. So one area that we did find a little bit of a hiccup, and we've come to a possible solution with council's approval, is with regards to insurance. And so we are seeking our town's insurance provider has quoted us $187 to $415 annually per group, depending on the size and the number of events that they have. Our existing policy covers the meeting, so this doesn't apply to meetings. It simply applies to special events, and the funding for this would be taken out of the contingency funds that are currently in place for committees of council for 2026. In future years, they would be a separate request per the the budget request that those community groups would be asking for. So with that, if there are any questions, I invite them. We also have Kitty Bavington, who authored this report, who can speak to any elements that council have questions on.
Thank you very much. I know insurance liability was something that Councillor Crone flagged for us on this. So Councillor Crone, would you like to move the recommendations on page 4?
Yes, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, any questions? I see Councillor Lahey with her hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much through you, Madam Chair. So my question is with regard to using taxpayer dollars to fund groups and pay for insurance for groups, and we're giving these groups money, with the exception of the North Union Community Group. As an advocate for the taxpayers in my role as a councillor, if the committees are no longer committees of council, then it should be the responsibility of the individual committees to pay for their own insurance, in my opinion, and as well as if they are no longer going to be committees of council and we have no authority over the code of conduct or anything that transpires at these special events, then I would suggest that they should not be receiving the taxpayer dollars to fund community groups that have no obligation to the town, and we have no authority over them. So I am in disagreement with providing taxpayer dollars to not only fund them, but also to provide insurance for them at the taxpayer dollars. So that's my
Thank you.
position. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that would have been a good position to bring up during budget when we authorized, well, I guess we didn't. No one said anything about these committees when it came to budget.
Excuse me, a point of order, Madam Mayor. I am
What's your
addressing.
point? What's your point?
I am addressing the fact that we did not have any proposal in front of us that council
That's
would
not a point
approve
of
the
order.
funding
Councillor
of
Lahey,
additional
Councillor Lahey,
liability
that's not a point
insurance
of order.
coverage for legacy
Excuse me?
community groups.
Councillor Lahey.
Okay. I'm in the chair right now, and you weren't authorized to speak. You asked for a point of order. I asked what that point of order was. You did not have a point of order. You had a further comment. If you would like to
My
make
point
a
of
further,
order, Madam
if you
Chair,
would like to make a further comment,
I
you
am
can put up
making
your
a point
hand
of
and-
order.
and make.
You stated
What's your point
something
of
that
order?
was erroneous. We were not debating during the budget process providing additional funding
not
of
a point of
liability
order.
insurance coverage.
Councillor Lahey, that's
You
not a point of
stated
order. It's
something
a comment.
erroneous. You stated something
That's not a
erroneous. We were
point-
not
that's
discussing that
not
at the
a point of
time.
order. It's very hard to do this remotely, but Madam Mayor, I could use your help. A point of order is not when you disagree with something that someone says, and you must wait for the person who is in the chair, put up your hand and wait to be addressed, and then you can make your comment. Your comments have been made. We are not debating the funding of these groups. That was done during the budget process to anyone who wanted to bring that up at that time. We have a motion on the floor, and I'm wondering if anyone else has any comments. Councillor Roy-DiClemente has her hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It seems to me that if this is something that we want to do, we should probably be making a motion to amend the budget, because it was, we did add in some, when we were moving some of the pools of money between committees, we did put additional funds into the committee contingency in order to be able to take in, to address in-year requests. So it's a bit challenging to be not even having approved the budget and those amendments to be already tapping into that pool of money. My challenge would be that my colleague has suggested that committees that are no longer part of that are no longer committees of council should not receive tax dollars, then I wonder if you will also be putting forward a motion to not fund the Mount Albert Sports Day to the tune of several dozen $1,000, if that's the logic that you're following. Thank you.
Okay, and we're going to keep the comments to this report. Councillor Crone, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's incumbent upon us to help these committees transition to the new arrangement that we have, and certainly providing support for insurance makes absolute sense. I would hate to throw these people to the wolves without any support. I don't have an issue with this. I don't think it's going to be a long-term solution, but for the interim as a transitory thing to do, I think it makes absolute sense, and make sure that our volunteers are protected. These people are working for the betterment of our community. So why wouldn't we support them? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crone. Councillor Lahey?
Thank you very much, through you, Madam Chair. So my fellow councillor has addressed the specific issues with regard to the liability insurance coverage and the source of funding that you were taking that from. I disagree that it should be taken from the committee contingency budget. It was my understanding during the budget process when we were discussing that that would be, in my mind, for potential projects, not for paying for insurance. So I disagree with the source of that committee contingency funding, and I would like to suggest that that it be taken from the monies that they're already receiving, and that it is not our responsibility to take care of individual community groups who are no longer committees of council. And I feel very strongly about that, and we did not have the opportunity to discuss the funding of additional liability insurance coverage for these legacy community groups. So I would like to put forward a motion that we amend this resolution that's been brought forward, and that if the other members of council feel that it is important to support these legacy groups, which we are giving taxpayer dollars to, that we do not take the funding from the committee contingency fund, that they use the funds that are already that we discussed in budget to cover their own insurance, and that is not putting further pressure on the budget from the committee contingency. So that is my motion I'd like to put forward, and so that we make an amendment to the budget, and that we discuss that openly as a committee about funding, where the funding will come from, which I disagree with, to cover the liability insurance coverage. So I'm
Thank
putting
you.
forward
So
a motion. Yeah.
So I think you're trying to put forward an amendment to the motion that's already on the floor. So I think that would be the third part of this number. So we have the first recommendation is that it be received. The second is that the transition plan be adopted. And the third is that council approve the funding of additional liability insurance for legacy community groups effective January 1st, 2026. So what part of that did you want to amend?
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to amend the part that says that council approve the funding of additional liability insurance coverage for legacy community groups. And it doesn't state here in the resolution where that's coming from. That was just added on the committee contingency, that we do not approve the funding of additional liability insurance coverage for legacy community groups from the committee contingency fund, so that we not approve it from the committee contingency fund. So that is my amendment to the third part of that.
Okay, I will ask the clerk for some direction. It's my understanding that motions can't be in the negative, that we not fund from a certain line is not in order. So I think that we have the motion before us, Councillor Lahey, and your point has been made very clearly that you don't want this coming from the committee contingency. So I'm going to throw it back to Ms. Gandhi to let us know if there's other sources that this can be funded from.
Through you, Madam Chair, if according to Councillor Lahey, if the desire is to fund it from within existing budget allocation for those community groups, then I would suggest that that would be the amendment, that council approve the funding for additional liability insurance coverage for legacy community groups effective January 1st, 2026, and that funding source is from the existing budget for those community groups.
So I think the problem with that is that they've already submitted for the year, and they've budgeted for what they need to produce their events, and it's only $2,000 each for each of the committees. So now taking away the majority of that money for insurance doesn't really make sense, because now they don't have the money to run the events. So I understand that motion that you're putting forward, and if the clerk wants to put that up on the screen, we can speak to that motion in particular.
Madam Chair, just bear with us for a moment as we prepare the motion. Madam Chair, we're going to be placing the motion as it was presented previously by Councillor Lahey, and perhaps committee could help assist with any revisions to the motion as you see fit. So just bear with us as we put that on the screen.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you very,
Through you, Madam
thank you
Chair.
very-
Yes, I have a
thank you.
question for the clerk.
I see your hand up. So, Madam Clerk, it's my understanding that it's out of order to put a motion in the negative. Can you just give us some background on that?
Through you, Madam Chair, let me just resort back to your procedure bylaw. Just bear with me for a moment, as I don't believe
Okay.
your procedure bylaw actually covers that notion in the negative. Just bear with me for a
Okay.
moment.
Okay. I'm just thinking of other boards and committees I've sat on that it was out of order to put in the negative. It needs to be in the positive. Well, she's looking that up. I know Councillor Lahey has her hand up for a question to the clerk. Does anyone else have any comments on this? Seeing none, Councillor Lahey, when the clerk is done looking up to see if this can be stated in the negative, you can ask your question when she's done.
Madam Chair, with respect to your current procedure bylaw, it does not actually reflect any provisions that would limit council from entertaining this motion. However, if
Okay.
committee wishes to change it, you could use alternative language such as excluding funding from the community contingency fund. If you wanted to
Okay.
still approve the liability insurance, but excluding from that funding source.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Roy-DiClemente.
Thank you. I just wanted to make the point that it looked like it was being moved by Councillor Crone, but what we're looking at now is an amendment to the original motion. But
Correct.
the original motion said one thing. This isn't a friendly amendment. This is completely reversing the intent of the original motion.
Absolutely, and that's why
Okay.
it's not friendly, and that's why it's going to be voted on separately.
Thank you.
Councillor Lahey, you had a question for the clerk.
Yes, my question was with regard to the statement that you had made, Madam Chair, that you cannot make a negative motion. So in fact, the clerk has provided clarification that indeed you can make a negative motion. And this reminds me of the discussion we had last year or earlier this year where you were operating under the
Counts.
Roberts Rules of Order when
Yeah.
in fact the
Most.
municipality does not operate procedurally under the Roberts Rules of Order. So
But-
thank you
and-
very much, Madam Clerk, for the clarification. And the comment that I wanted to make was, I do not understand what the entire point of this transition plan for these community groups, which was to remove them from no longer being committees of the council. So we're removing them from no longer being committees of the council, but at the same time, we're stating we're going to continue to give them taxpayer dollars and provide them with insurance paid for by taxpayer dollars. So this is a contradiction in itself, this report, and that this additional funding that we are voting on. And so that is why I've put forward that council not approve the funding of additional liability insurance coverage for legacy community groups from the Community Contingency Fund, because that is not, in my opinion, what the purpose of the Community Contingency Fund should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lahey. And just for clarity, these committees applied for funding, much the same as Sports Day applied for funding. So they now move to that sort of realm. And as we're transitioning over there, that's why we have this report before us. So they applied like everyone else did, and there was no comments on the budget from that. Councillor Roy-DiClemente, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't take my hand down. My apologies.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so we have the amendment from Councillor Lahey that council not approve the funding of additional liability insurance coverage for legacy committee groups from the committee contingency fund. Moved by Councillor Lahey. We're just voting on that amendment. All in favor? Opposed? And that fails. And we'll go back to the main motion. Councillor Crone put on the motion to receive, to adopt, and to fund liability insurance. Any more comments on that? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. And that's all we have under corporate services. I'll turn the chair back to you, Madam Mayor.
We are now down to item H, Finance, with Councillor Johnson, the chair.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So there's one item under finance today, and it's of administrative nature, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Marshall to speak to it.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So this report is in response to a change in practice by the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, or MPAC, regarding certain requests for a reduction in taxes filed under Section 357 of the Municipal Act. So previously, when a request was received from a landowner to reduce their taxes, MPAC would determine the amount of the reduction, the tax reduction, by providing a revised assessed value of the property, and then municipalities would calculate taxes based on that reassessed value. So MPAC has indicated now that they're no longer going to do that for certain requests, leaving it to the municipalities to figure out a way to calculate this tax reduction. And this policy provides a way that we are going to calculate the tax reduction. The details are in the body of the report and in the policy. This policy is consistent with other municipalities in York Region that have to deal with 357 application requests, and it should provide tax reductions that are consistent with what we have done in the past. So I'm happy to answer any questions regarding details or rest of the policy.
Thanks, Mr. Marshall. Is there questions or comments from members of committee? Councillor Foster.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering if I'm looking for some clarification. If people are looking for a reduction in taxes, that could be because of a change of use for their property. If it requires a change of zoning, does that change things? Does MPAC become involved later? Or that's a bigger process to begin with?
So through you, Mr. Chair, that's a different process. Okay. This is specific to temporary changes in certain things within a property. So if a building's been demolished or something like that. So.
Okay, just giving time for folks if they have any questions, comments. Seeing none, I will be looking for a mover on this. It'll be a result of the finance report. 2025-10, dated December 2nd, entitled Administrative Policy for Changes, Section 357, applications be received, that council approve the administrative policy to address the applications for adjustments to property taxes under Section 357 of the Municipal Act, and that council authorize the treasurer or designate to approve property tax adjustments provided through this policy. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Foster. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Does committee have anything else for Mr. Marshall? Mr. Marshall, anything else for committee?
Through you, Mr. Chair, nothing at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. We're at item I, Legal and Legislative Services, with myself in the chair. And I would ask General Manager Ingram, can you present this report, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. This is a this is a request that we enter into an easement agreement with the Sharon Temple in order to formalize their legal access to their property. And I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Lahey, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Ms. Ingram. I would like to get some background about this this request. Who initiated the request for the granting of the easement, and when was this request initially made?
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, thank you for the question. By way of background, the matter came up when the Howard House was being considered to be moved, before that in an unfortunate fire. And so that came up at that time when it was learned that the long-standing arrangement that was in place between the society and the town had never actually been formalized into a legal access situation. So it was discussed at that time, and that's all I know about the matter. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Ms. Ingram. So I have one follow-up question with regard to the timing of it coming here now. My question, because council has not had any information shared with them about what is happening on the Sharon Temple Museum Society property with regard to replacing the Howard House, or what transpired after the unfortunate fire which destroyed the Howard House, what will be taking place. So in granting them easement to the property that is noted on the report that you submitted to us, if there is future construction, if there is future building, trucks, different vehicles, or because I have no idea what the plans are at the Sharon Temple Museum Society, I'm wondering in terms of liability. We taxpayers paid $300,000 to pave the Temperance Hall parking lot, which is the parking lot that is used by visitors to the Sharon Temple, as well as any potential future construction or ongoing plans with the Sharon Temple. So what is the town's position in terms of liability if there's any damage done to the Temperance Hall lands, which taxpayers pay for to repave that parking lot and that property which is being used? Madam Mayor, my question is through, I had my question directed towards Ms. Ingram, who is our town solicitor, and whose department prepared this report. So I would like Ms. Ingram to have a chance to answer my question, please, before another councillor is given the opportunity to comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the easement will mitigate the risk that you've identified, Councillor Lahey.
You're satisfied? Thank you. Councillor Johns?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to state for the public record through you that I recognize that this is twice that it has come up now regarding the Sharon Museum and Gardens work that is being undertaken on the land since the fire at the Howard House. I will note to the councillor that there was a deputation in April of 2025 that presented everything. And so I just wanted to clarify for the public, because it is now twice that comments were made that that the museum and society hasn't presented. But I went back and checked. In April 2025, there was a full presentation to council. So thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions. I have a motion. Moved by, be it resolved that Legal and Legislative Services Report LLS 2052504 dated December 2nd, 2025, entitled Grant of an Easement in Favor of the Sharon Temple Museum Society be received, and that a bylaw be submitted to council at the December 16th, 2025 council meeting authorizing the following. The town be authorized to enter into an easement agreement with the Sharon Temple Museum in a form satisfactory to the town solicitor, and the town solicitor be authorized to execute and register on title over a portion of the Civic Center lands at 1900 Leslie Street and the Temperance Hall lands at 18994 Leslie Street, which such legal document as may be necessary to affect the terms of the easement agreement. All those in favor?
Happy to move it, Madam.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, a question or your, thank you. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Just give me a moment here. We are down to item J to O, and that is myself in the chair. There are no items at this time. Item K, Development Services, Regional Councillor Roy-DiClemente in the chair, none at this time. L, Parks. Recreation and Culture, Councillor Crone in the chair, none at this time. M, Engineering and Public Works, Councillor Lahey, chair, none at this time. Item N, Fire and Emergency Services, Councillor Foster in the chair, none at this time. O, Other Business, none at this time. And P, Adjournment, be it resolved that the meeting of the Committee of the Whole Council adjourn at 10:33 a.m.
Happy to move it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for moving it. All in favor? And that's carried.